I was out in the Fabia the other day and I could hear some knocking from the rear end. Felt like it was coming from the rear right side of the vehicle. When I went over some bumps, I could hear this juddering knocking noise. Can you hear that? Something definitely wrong. I'll have to investigate. Well, the bump stop shroud has come loose. Looks a bit grubby. Oh, there's quite a lot of oil on the damper. I'll just have a look underneath. Ah yes, oil coming out of the damper. A sure sign that the damper's failed. Definitely. Luckily, I just happen to have some spares. I've got a new bump stop and shroud. Those just fit together. And more importantly, a damper, which happens to be the same as the one that I replaced on the left hand side about 6 years ago, when I should have replaced it then, but actually didn't. And as I said back then, you should always replace these in pairs. So I guess I knew this was going to happen. So I'll go and get my jack. Make sure you're on level firm ground. Chock the front wheels, which I haven't done until later, as you'll see. Jack up the car. Slacken off the wheel nuts, jack up the car, put the axle stand in. Take off the wheel and put it under the body for extra security. First thing we need to do is take off the wheel arch liner, which is held in by about 10 T25 screws. You'll have to put some penetrating fluid on if you haven't taken this off before, and then clean out the head of the screws so you can get your socket on it. And then take them out. There's two difficult ones to get at on the inside of the wheel arch at the top. You have to feel round to locate them. They're probably covered in road dirt like mine are here. They're just a bit hard to get to because they're on the inside and sort of upside down and wrong way round kind of thing. Take all those out. And then grab the liner and then rattle it loose. It should come out, and there's a little split in the middle to go around the damper. Take that out and then clean that later before you put it back. Right, let's have a look. Oh, it's quite rusty here. I'm going to have to do something with that, definitely. And if we look up at the top, just pull the bump stop down. Here's the bracket that holds the top of the damper to the body, held on by two 16mm bolts. Spray them and loosen them off. I won't take them out just yet. Now turn into the lower part of the damper, fits onto the trailing arm with a 17mm bolt and lock nut. Put a bottle jack underneath the rear arm and raise it slightly. This aids getting the bolt and shock out by releasing the tension on it. These are usually pretty hard to get off if they've been on the car for a long time. So clean them up with a wire brush thoroughly and spray them with some penetrating fluid and see if I can get them off. I think I'm going to apply some heat on this, so being careful not to burn the handbrake cable shroud. Just apply a bit of heat, which melts the nylon lock nut, of course. Right, I'm getting this off. Right, I'll work this loose and take it off, and eventually it comes off. When we look at the bolt, you can see it's rogered. I won't be able to use that again. Not that I was going to do. So you need a replacement bolt of the same type. Now importantly, these are high tensile bolts, and if you look on the head, there's a number, and on this one it says 10.9, if you can just about see that. So you replace it with a 10.9 bolt of the same size with a smooth shaft. I'll leave the sizes in the description. The only thing is I haven't got a lock nut, so I'll have to make sure I get one of those later, which you always must do, as you don't want the rear end coming loose on a motorway, or anywhere in fact. Now you can detach the strut top mounting and then take the damper out. And here's what I'm left with inside the wheel arch. Quite a bit of corrosion here, which I'll add to the continuing project. But the important bit is the top strut mount bracket bit that goes onto the body is sound. This bit should clean up, hopefully. If it doesn't, I'll have to do a bit of welding. Must do that when I get the chance. Right, into the workshop. Before we start, get my priorities right. Have a grand cup of tea. Yorkshire tea, of course, because I'm in Yorkshire, I think. Or am I? I keep forgetting. Maybe I'm in Scotland or East Anglia. Right, on with job. Clamp the top mount in the vise gently and put a bit of wood in between the jaws if you're worried about it. Take the little top cap off. That just easily comes off, along with the cobwebs. And what we have is a 17mm nut, which you can get off with a 17mm swan neck ring spanner, and hold the shaft with some adjustable spanners. Take that out. Here's the shaft with a little collet put onto the top, which fits into the mount. So I need to clean the mount up on the inside bit. It's important that, as that's the only thing that the collet holds onto. This is the inside. Just needs cleaning up where the bump stop goes, and the little shoulder where the collet goes. Right, get the new damper. And you should get a new top nut, which you do. And before you replace it back into the mount, you need to put the shroud and bump stop on the shaft. These fit together. There's a little cutout, if you can just see that, on the shroud at the top, which you work the first run into. Once it starts off, you can just turn it and it'll fit right in. There we are. Shove that on. Now if you're wondering what that washer is, you don't need it on this model. On some, that's just to hold the collet on, and then that fits into another mount. But this one just fits directly into the mount, so I don't need that washer. Bump stop on. Mount on. And stick my nut on. Tighten it up in the vise to the correct torque, of course. Which you're probably going to find hard to do without an open socket. So buy one of them and then you can torque it up properly. Shove the bump stop up into the mount. Do that dry, don't put any grease in it at all, otherwise it'll just fall back down again. And I've had enough now, I'm off in. I'll resume this in the morning. Just stick that damper back in the boot of my car for now. Right, good morning everybody. Stick the damper back on. Put the little top cap on, that just pushes on. Get my tools. Compress the damper a little bit and shove it in. Making sure it's the right way around and the top mount lines up. Slip the damper lower section into the trailing arm bracket and replace the bolt after thoroughly lubricating it with grease. Then I like to put some copper ease on the threads before I put the lock nut on. But I haven't got a lock nut, so this will do for now. I think what I'll do is I'll put the old nut on top of this one. Then it'll lock it into place. Just for the time being until I get a new nylon inserted lock nut. And when you put your bolt in, make sure you torque it up properly. Let the top mount rise up to the body mount. You may or may not use the bottle jack to do this. Put some Loctite on the bolt threads and insert the bolts and tighten them up. And of course get your torque wrench out and torque them up to the correct torque. Now for the fun part. In my opinion this is the best bit. Get your bucket and sponge out and clean up the plastic wheel arch liner. Going to stick that in the sun to dry. And while I'm waiting, I'll have another cup of tea whilst pondering my future wheel arch renovation. So you want to manhandle the liner back in place. Use the split to go around the back of the damper. Once you've got it behind that, it usually just pops up into place and holds itself there while you can get your screws. And as I said earlier, I like to put some copper ease on these screws. Makes the job much easier the next time you take them out. Locate them into place first, just put them in loosely before you tighten them all up. Just gives you that little bit of extra play while you're inserting them. And don't forget the two screws up on the inside of the wheel arch rim. And it looks like we're done. Just got to bung the wheel on. If I can find the bolts and put them in. I should really torque all these up as well to the correct torque. I should have one of these fancy gun things for that, but no worries. And let the car down and tighten up the bolts by hand. And that's it. I should be back on the road now. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up. It really helps out with the channel. Feel free to leave a comment in the comment section below. Check out some of the specs and links in the description. And if you haven't already subscribed, consider subscribing. And as always, thank you for watching. I better clean Auntie Mildred's rug before I take it back to her.